This is First Coast News at 5:30.
We're staying on top of several breaking news stories. There is a lot going on right now. First, tragedy in southeast Georgia where a baby has been found dead in a car near a motel. The investigation is still underway in Kingsland. We have a crew there. We'll have a live report for you tonight at 6 o'clock.
And breaking news tonight in Mandarin, near Mandarin, where part of San Jose Boulevard right now is blocked as police investigate a deadly crash. This taking place about 2 blocks north of Bay Meadows Road. We know that 1 person has died, 4 others have been injured. Right now we're working to learn the name of the victims. Right now we are tracking some storms. It's been a loud and rough afternoon. Might be getting a little bit better, but still a lot of caution needed out there. So storm expert Tim Diggins joins us now. So where are these storms headed right now?
Basically to the south. So let's take a look at what we have and what we're going to have. So where we've had the heavy rain, still some wet roads, so use some caution out there, that's for sure. Here's a look at what's happened over the last 3 hours. You can be a forecaster with me. I think the lightning really jumps out at you here, and watch how that decreases from the north to the south. And now nearly all of the lightning south of Duval. Heaviest rains as well. We haven't had any indications of severe thunderstorms, meaning damaging hail and or winds, but certainly very heavy rains and lightning. Actually 3 main clusters that we want to focus on. First of all, over Duval County, the last of the heavy rains have come to an end, basically south side and the Mandarin area, but that cell continues to drop to the south. We've had very heavy rain and lightning over northwest St. Johns County for about the last 30 minutes or so. It's the leading edge now where the heavy rains and lightning located, and that's going to continue to drop to the point. There's a few of the locations, Federal Point on down to about Palatka. So think Highway 13 to the east, Highway 17 to the west. Off to the west of Duval, Nassau, this is going to be more than likely the most intense thunderstorm complex over about the next 30 minutes or so. We're talking Baker County. This will probably expand into Columbia County, but at least for about the next 30 minutes or so. Some of the worst weather will be from Margarita to Sanderson and even Mans Spur. Now we're going to go way down south. So to get your perspective here, here's Palatka. Keep your eyes to the north. That's a storm we want to watch for you. Farther off to the west, notice, look at all of this lightning here, where we're talking about a cluster that is just about out of what we call the First Coast. We think of as Putnam County as our farthest county off to the south and southwest, and then Marion County is for others. But hey, if you're watching in Marion County, we care about you. Look at these heavy rains and the frequent lightning strikes, and this will continue to build to the south. Another way to look at it, though, for those of you in Keystone, the storm is over, and Interlochen and Hawthorne in about another 15 minutes or so, it's going to be over. So what's to come after the evening storms? We'll break it down for you in just a few moments.
Thank you. As tensions rise over the immigration crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border, Health and Human Services officials denied 2 lawmakers access to a temporary shelter for unaccompanied migrant children that's in South Florida.
U.S. Senator Bill Nelson and Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz say they were told by the company that runs the shelter that the last-minute change shows they are, quote, obviously hiding something. That's the representative and the senator's opinion on that. They were told they could tour the facility, they say. President Trump's immigration policies have come under intense scrutiny following reports of the forced separation of migrant children from their parents. And some of those children are reportedly being held in that facility in Miami-Dade County.
Now, officials say this is all happening because they are running out of room to house everyone near the border. And tonight we are seeing and we're hearing what is happening inside those shelters that are now housing those children.
From this vantage point, you might miss the struggle unfolding below.
We need to have a supervisor.
At the International Bridge in El Paso is where rhetoric meets reality.
We're not discouraging anyone from entering. We just cannot at this time.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol turning away asylum seekers, including this family of 8 from Michoacana, Mexico. There's just nowhere to temporarily detain them. 40 miles east of El Paso, 98 children already staying at this tent camp here in Tornillo. It can house 3 times as many. They are children separated from their parents who entered the U.S. illegally. President Trump now enforcing zero tolerance, charging adults with crimes, their children taken away while they go to jail.
Parents who entered illegally are, by definition, criminals. Illegal entry is a crime as determined by Congress. By entering our country illegally, often in dangerous circumstances, illegal immigrants have put their children at risk.
Opposition continues to grow against the president's policy, even as his spokeswoman defends it.
The president himself said that he doesn't like this process, but once again, it's Congress's job to change the law.
Senator Ted Cruz defended Trump last week as well, but now says he'll introduce emergency legislation to keep migrant families together. He'll double the number of federal immigration judges and create new temporary shelters to keep parents with children. Luis Melendez is that saxophone player we saw serenading his city, one defined by the border, experiencing another struggle this country has yet to solve.
And breaking news just in, the United States is pulling out of the United Nations Human Rights Commission. That announcement was just made by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and by UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Now, yesterday, the UN's human rights chief criticized the Trump administration's policy of separating families at the border. The mission of that group is to protect and to promote human rights around the world.
New at 5:30, we are digging deeper into the United Airlines ever-changing pet policies that are causing headaches for military families overseas. Now, as of last night, United Airlines is now making more exceptions after an onslaught of media coverage and complaints. Tonight, our Shelby Danielson caught back up with a family who was lucky enough to get their dogs home in time, and now they are just hoping for the same outcome for everybody else.
The last time we spoke with the Raymonds, it was via FaceTime. They were still in Guam trying to figure out their situation. They say they're some of the lucky ones because they were able to get their pets home, but they worry for hundreds of other military families who are now facing that dilemma.
You love your doggy?
The bond is pretty obvious.
Is that Doodles?
Olivia Raymond sees these two as part of the family. More than that, her parents see them as stability for a life on the move.
It's a lot of change for a 2-year-old, and the one thing that she has had constant through all of that is her puppies.
Naval Chief Petty Officer Timothy Raymond and his wife Carlene say they made it back with their dogs thanks to negotiations between United and the Navy.
It was almost a miracle.
Their dogs were small enough to make the cut. As of June 18th, United announced a new exception for military families and civilians overseas. If anyone flew their pets via United to their current location, they have until March 19th of next year to fly them back. Of course, there are some breeds and sizes that have always been forbidden for safety reasons, and they won't change.
Sit down. Sit if you want to stay.
For Destiny Rigsby and her husband, their options are limited.
They don't see our pets as our family like we do.
The Army is moving them to Guam in August. One of their dogs is too big to fly United, and they don't fit that exception. So they're dishing out about $5,000 to fly them via Korean Airlines. She wishes the Army would offer some help.
We're faced with this when we shouldn't be because, we just kind of go where they tell us to go. They help us in certain ways, but when it comes to the pets, they're just like, you're kind of on your own. Flying Korean Air, there's no guarantee that we would be able to even ask to be reimbursed or anything like that. That's just been said that will not happen.
While the Rigsbys are having to fork over thousands of dollars to get their pets over to Guam, they say there are military grants out there that you can apply for. We'll have that information on our website. For First Coast News, I'm Shelby Danielson on your side.
Shelby, thank you. Right now, another breaking news alert coming into our newsroom. We want to tell you about this one impacting the afternoon commute on the west side. All lanes of Sutel Drive are shut down right now near Kings Road due to a live wire down on the ground. It's unclear now on the north side how long this road will be closed, so do try and avoid the area.
Well, Jacksonville police have arrested a man accused of robbing a local Pizza Hut. And tonight, police are looking to see if the suspect, Kevin Hopper, is connected to 2 other robberies at pizza places. One happened at the Pizza Hut in March, another happened at the Domino's in April.
New safety measures are in place at a dangerous intersection in Fernandina Beach now. Officials with the police department, as well as streets maintenance, teamed up to add this double stop sign. Now, the extra stop sign was added at Cetrona and Atlantic Avenue to provide extra visibility. And folks say that should help.
Well, some good news if you're looking to squeeze in a beach day this week. Jacksonville Beach lifeguards tell us the number of jellyfish sightings and stings has now significantly diminished along the shoreline. But beware, if you're heading to Daytona Beach, more than 2,000 jellyfish stings have been reported in Volusia County just over the past 11 days.
Allegiant Airlines just added more nonstop flights out of JIA. You can now fly nonstop from Jacksonville to Louisville, Kentucky and Norfolk, Virginia. Flights will operate twice a week for as low as $50.
Well, we want to give a big shout out tonight to 3 local students who have been appointed to the United States Air Force Academy. Darius Jansen, Amari Jaquay, and Reginald Moffitt III will all continue their education at the prestigious military academy in Colorado. Following graduation, all 3 students transitioned to the U.S. Air Force Academy Prep School to prepare for entry into the academy. So big congratulations to them.
Prestigious, and thank you in advance for the service.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, video games now being put into the same category with drugs and alcohol.
This is very interesting. We're going to tell you why the World Health Organization says video game addiction needs to be treated as a serious health issue.
And we all know too well the problems hurricanes can create. The efforts, though, being made to help speed up the process of restoring utilities. We'll show you what they're doing for us after the next break.
Safe to say just about all of us are guilty of overusing our phones at one time or another. And now health officials say that a growing number of young people are actually becoming addicted to their smartphones and to their computers. And tonight, the World Health Organization is specifically singling out video game addiction as a serious mental health condition. Experts say while most gamers are not addicts, about 3% are. And that affects tens of thousands of gamers each year. Health officials say people addicted to video games allow gaming to take precedence over other interests in their daily activities.
Video games appears to be very good at elevating that pleasure chemical, and really what we get addicted to is not the game, but the elevation of dopamine.
Now, the gaming industry disagrees with the addiction characterization, saying that there's no objective evidence to define and diagnose the disorder. The American Psychiatric Association is on the fence, acknowledging that they have seen an increase in possible cases, but not taking any steps to officially classify gaming addiction as a mental health disorder.
Well, hurricane season is here, and while we hope that you have a plan in place to go to in case there's a storm, it's important for our local utility companies to be prepared too. We all want our power back on, right? Storm expert Lauren Rautenkranz was invited to speak at this year's Florida Natural Gas Association convention, where they are discussing weather's role in how quickly and efficiently your power can be restored after a storm.
A beautiful day out here in Amelia Island, where hundreds of people have gathered for this year's Florida Natural Gas Association convention. The association is a nonprofit organization that promotes and encourages the growth of the natural gas industry in the Sunshine State. They're made up of more than 100 companies, and while they're typically business competition per se, this convention is all about coming together to see how they can better the industry.
We tend to get together so that we make sure for our customers we're finding our best practices, we're doing the things that are best for our customers. We find the most robust processes, and we bring experts in, like from the storm team.
So that's where my role came into play. The association invited me to speak on a panel about smarter, tougher forecasting. We discussed everything from our recent hurricane seasons, Matthew and Irma specifically, and predictions for this year's hurricane season. But another topic that's almost equally as important for this group in particular was how cold or how stormy the upcoming winter will be. Bottom line, the weather has a huge impact on natural gas and other utilities.
What happens with the weather and what happens in the news outlets around us and how that's predicted is of utmost importance to us to make sure that we're reacting the right way, because quite frankly a lot of people look to their utilities to get that kind of information as well.
So a very insightful convention, at least for me, to learn about all the different aspects of the utility industry, what they do to provide a safe and reliable service to their customers, and also what they do to be prepared for whatever Mother Nature decides to throw our way. In Amelia Island, I'm Lauren Rautenkranz for First Coast News, on your side.
Now, weather with your First Coast News storm experts, powered by AC Designs.
I've been following Lauren's Facebook post. She's very excited to be there, learning a lot.
That's an honor to be
stuff.
asked to speak.
Absolutely.
So we're hearing a lot about El Nino, this being an El Nino year maybe, but there's a caveat with that, right?
Well, there is. Number one, I guarantee you, Lauren will also share with us the utility companies are still preparing, just like it could be a year of more hurricanes. And how about a reminder that, and this is a quote from the same folks that predict the possibility of an El Nino, that the last El Nino in 2015 and 2016 was one of the strongest El Ninos on record, and yet Remember locally, we had Joaquin and the El Faro tragedy, and we had Matthew. And also notice the letters. That means we went through a lot of hurricanes. What we're seeing increasingly is that even during El Nino years, we're having more hurricanes than we used to have in average year. So it's great information to know. Just use it with a relative sense of preparation. Speaking of preparation, we just got this in as well, and that is the new flood maps. They're more detailed than ever as far as your particular residence. Now, they're not actually going to be online until November 2nd, but I'm told that if you just want to eyeball the new maps, they're at your local city hall. So in my mind, the more you know, the better we are all prepared. With all of that said, I don't see any tropical threat for at least the next 7 days. But what about this? Well, here's a shading for a severe thunderstorm warning. Remember, severe thunderstorm means in addition to the always dangerous lightning and heavy rain, that this storm could be producing some damaging winds. Now, notice where we are. This is this thunderstorm cell we've been talking about for the last 45 minutes or so. So we're way down south, southwest of Interlaken. It covers a small portion of those of you in Putnam County and then Marion County, which is out of our region, but still, if you're watching, we care about you too. And then also southeastern Alachua County. So think severe thunderstorm warning from southwest of Interlaken to Hawthorne and then on off to the south. You can be a forecaster with me. Notice how we had a couple cells converge right here at the top end of that severe thunderstorm warning, and then the cell is dropping to the south. Now, the portion of the cell that possibly could be producing some wind damage is actually more than likely probably out of Putnam County now and down south. Nonetheless, though, probably doesn't take me to tell you, look at all of this dangerous lightning and very heavy rain. For those of you in far southwestern Putnam County, give this about another 15 to 20 minutes and conditions will be much better. What about elsewhere around the First Coast? Well, the story for most of us, now I'm talking about population areas, that is the Jacksonville metropolitan area. Think Fernandina to St. Augustine, westward to Middleburg, certainly including Duval County. This has just happened during the last hour. Lightning gone, rain, heavy rains gone. As we slide to the south, notice even northwestern St. Johns County, the rain just about completely over. The lightning is over as well. Still, though, pretty strong thunderstorm complex that we're going to watch over western Baker, eastern Columbia, and then northern Union County. So this is not a severe thunderstorm yet, but this is going to be pretty significant, especially heading down toward the Lake Butler area. Okay, what about over the next couple of days? Well, we're still going to have thunderstorms. For those of you east of I-95 that haven't had much the last couple of days, the pattern's going to change, and that is when the thunderstorms form, they're going to tend to go from west to east for you as well. So east of I-95, not a guarantee, but I think about 40% of you will have thunderstorms during the afternoon. Along and west of I-95, we're going to up that to 80% tomorrow, and probably a pretty similar pattern as we head toward Thursday, the summer solstice, and Friday. So I guess if this is the longest day of the year, it's also the shortest night of the year. I'm not sure if that's good or bad news for you. But then more than likely, widely scattered thunderstorms through the weekend, but that also means plenty of morning sun.
From the Farah and Farah Sports Desk, it's First Coast Sports.
Oh, hello, everybody. Right now, the defending national champion Florida Gators find themselves in a must-win situation at the College World Series out in Omaha, Nebraska. The Gators facing one of the blue blood programs, the Longhorns of Texas. Florida's offense has not been productive for the most part this postseason, so maybe Kevin O'Sullivan's club can get it going. Top first runners on the corner for Jonathan India, and that runner can come on down. He's dink and limpid. Can I get an amen? 1-0 Gators. Jackson Kowar, thank you, Florida Director Jim, was dealing 2 outs with a runner on second, and Austin Laneworthy showing you why he is worthy, makes a spectacular over-the-shoulder grab. Top 6, and this is what Jeannie Blaylock and all Gator Nation wants to see. India with 2 runners on, and he's just logged on to firstcoastnews.com and clicked on the home run link. Bing! A 3-run blast to left. That made it 5-0 Gators. India already with 4 runs batted in. The Gators lead this one in the bottom of the 6th, 5-0. So again, the Gators must win or their season will come to a close. Another update and the latest highlights tonight, all new at 6. Heather?
All right, go Gators.
Well, they spent most of their time catching waves, but the members of UNF surf team had to take a quick break to take the podium.
How they fared at the National Surfing Competition out in California. It's going to be a good night on TV tonight on NBC. America's Got Talent is back at 8 o'clock. We watch this at our house. It's a lot of fun to watch. Followed by a brand new episode of World of Dance. That's at 10 o'clock tonight. And, of course, be sure to stay up for First Coast News at 11 with Heather and Jessica tonight.
Well, when trying to get rescue animals adopted, getting them exposure is really half the battle. So a local rescue group has come up with an idea, and it's really getting some amazing results.
Great way to get them a break from the shelter environment, to get them in a more, home environment and around people who are eager to give them attention.
So tomorrow on GMJ, Katie Jeffrey shows us the VIP treatment that's helping match these animals with new families. Well, a big congratulations to the UNF surf team. They finished third in the National Surfing Championship in California.
Isn't that a great picture? The trophy, the beach, the whole thing. They say while their goal is still one day to become the first East Coast school to win this event, they are pleased with their third place showing. UNF surf team just recently won the East Coast Championship for the 4th consecutive year. Congrats to UNF.